My fiancée suddenly laughed and said, "Surprise! I booked us on Cheaters. The film crew will be following you for a whole week, starting tomorrow." I kept a calm smile and simply replied, "Then the show's going to be pretty boring, since I've never cheated." But the moment she turned away, I picked up my phone and called to show myself that I told them, "If you really want to catch the real cheater, check her phone records." A week later, when the cameras showed up at our door, she opened it with full confidence, smiling for the shot. And then her smile froze, like stone. Hey legend, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to my channel and support me. Thank you. I'm a 31-year-old guy, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I'd been with Sarah for 4 years. We got engaged last December at her parents' cabin. Snowfall, champagne, the whole storybook moment. We were supposed to get married in September. She worked in marketing for a tech startup, made decent money, and we just put a deposit down on a house in the suburbs. Everything looked perfect from the outside. But here's the thing about perfect. It's usually a performance. It started small. Sarah became obsessed with this reality show called Cheaters. You know, the one where they follow people around with cameras trying to catch them being unfaithful. She'd watch episodes every night, sitting there with her wine glass, pointing at the screen saying things like, "See? That's exactly what cheaters do. They always get too defensive." Or, "Look at his face. Guilty as hell." I thought it was just entertainment. A guilty pleasure. I'd laugh along, make jokes about how our lives were too boring for TV. Then came that Friday night, March 14th. I remember because we'd just gotten back from her sister's birthday dinner. Sarah was in that bubbly mood she gets after a few drinks. Giggly, affectionate, kind of mischievous. She sat down next to me on the couch, took my hand, and said with this massive grin, "Babe, I have a surprise for you." I was expecting maybe a weekend trip announcement, concert tickets, something fun. Instead, she said, "I booked us on Cheaters. The film crew will be following you for a whole week, starting tomorrow." I just stared at her. What? Isn't it amazing? They had a cancellation and I applied weeks ago as a backup couple. They called yesterday and said we're in. We'll be on national TV. She was practically bouncing. "Sarah, why would you do that?" "Because it'll be fun. And it proves to everyone how solid we are. Plus," she leaned in closer, "they pay $5,000 if nothing's found. Free money, babe." My brain was racing. This wasn't normal. This wasn't something you did if you trusted your partner. But I kept my voice steady and said, "Then the show's going to be pretty boring. I've never cheated." She kissed my cheek. "I know you haven't. That's exactly why this is perfect." She went to bed happy. I sat there for another 20 minutes, staring at the TV she'd left on, some home renovation show playing on mute. Something felt wrong. Really wrong. Sarah wasn't spontaneous. She didn't do things for fun, without an angle. She was calculated. Strategic. That's what made her good at her job. And then it clicked. She wasn't testing me. She was covering for herself. I pulled out my phone and Googled the show's production company. Found their tip line, the one where people can submit evidence or concerns about participants. It took me 15 minutes to navigate their automated system, but eventually I got through to someone. A producer named Marcus. "Yeah, we're filming with you guys tomorrow," he said. "Your fiancé seemed really eager to get you on the show." "That's what worries me," I told him. "Listen, if you really want to catch the real cheater in this relationship, you need to check her phone records. Her late nights at the office. Her business trips to Austin." There was a pause. "You're saying..." "I'm saying she signed us up because she thinks I'm the distraction. But I'm not the one who's been acting strange for 6 months. Marcus was quiet for a moment, then said, "We'll look into it. But you understand we can't tip her off, right? If you're wrong about this, I'm not wrong. Then we'll see you tomorrow." I didn't sleep that night. Sarah did, like a baby. Update 1: the crew showed up at 9 a.m. on Saturday. 3 people, a camera operator, a sound tech, and Marcus himself, who was apparently directing this segment. Sarah was dressed up, makeup done, smiling like she was hosting a morning show. "This is so exciting," she said, hugging me in front of the camera. "We're going to show everyone what a real relationship looks like." Marcus shook both our hands. "So here's how this works. We'll follow you both through your normal routines for the next week. Work, errands, social events. The goal is to see if there are any red flags in the relationship." Sarah nodded enthusiastically. "And there won't be. Right, babe?" "Right," I said. What Sarah didn't know was that Marcus had already pulled her phone records. I found that out later. He'd also reached out to her company's HR department under the pretense of verifying her work schedule for filming purposes. They'd been extremely cooperative. The first 2 days were boring. I went to the gym, grabbed coffee with my buddy Mike, worked from home. The cameras followed me everywhere and found exactly nothing because there was nothing to find. Sarah watched the dailies each night. They'd show her the footage at the end of each day as part of the show's format, and she looked so smug, so satisfied. "See," she said Tuesday night. "I told you this would be easy." "You did," I agreed. Wednesday was when things shifted. Marcus pulled Sarah aside that morning and said they wanted to film her at her office, just to get some b-roll of her normal work environment. She hesitated, just for a second, but I saw it, then agreed. I stayed home, watched the camera feed they'd set up. They have this thing where the couple can watch what's being filmed in real time on a monitor, supposedly for transparency. Sarah's office was downtown, open floor plan, lots of glass. The cameras followed her to her desk, filmed her typing, doing normal work stuff. Then around 11 a.m., a guy walked over. Tall, dark hair, probably late 20s. He leaned against her cubicle wall and said something I couldn't hear. Sarah laughed. That specific laugh she does when she's flirting. The one that's slightly higher pitched than her normal voice. Marcus zoomed in on her phone when she set it face down on the desk. Then he asked her, on camera, "That's your coworker Jake, right?" She blinked. Yeah, he's on my team. You two seem close. We're friendly. That's normal in an office, isn't it?" "Absolutely," Marcus said smoothly. "Do you hang out outside of work?" "Sometimes. Group stuff mostly. Happy hours." "Ever just the two of you?" Her smile tightened. "Why are you asking this?" "Just trying to get the full picture of your daily life." She excused herself to the bathroom. The camera stayed on Jake, who checked his phone, smiled at something, and typed back quickly. At that exact moment, Sarah's phone, still face down on her desk, buzzed. Marcus picked it up before anyone could stop him. The message preview on the lock screen read, "Can't wait for tonight. Your place or mine?" The sender, Jake. Update 2: They didn't show Sarah that footage Wednesday night. Marcus told me later this was strategic. They wanted to see how she'd behave without knowing they'd found something. So they showed her the boring clips of me working from home, playing video games, ordering takeout. She went to bed relieved again. Thursday morning, she told me she had to work late. "Big presentation on Friday. Need to prep with the team." "No problem," I said. "I'll order pizza." The cameras followed her. She did go to the office, for about an hour. Then she and Jake left together in his car. They drove to a bar across town. Not a corporate place. A dimly lit spot with booths in the back. Marcus had a second crew tail them. I watched the feed. They sat close. Too close. His hand was on her thigh under the table. She was playing with her hair, that thing she does when she's nervous or excited. They had 3 drinks each. At one point, Jake leaned in and whispered something in her ear, and she threw her head back laughing. Then they left. They went to his apartment. The cameras couldn't go inside, obviously, but they didn't need to. Sarah's car stayed parked outside for 4 hours. She didn't leave until almost midnight. When she got home, I was on the couch watching TV. She kissed the top of my head and said, "Sorry babe, that ran so late. I'm exhausted." "How'd the prep go?" "Good. Really good. I think we're in great shape for tomorrow." She showered and went to bed. I stayed up until 3 a.m. Update 3: Friday was the confrontation day. That's how the show works. They compile everything, then sit both people down and reveal what they found. Sarah thought we were going in for a final interview to wrap up the week. She wore a nice dress, did her makeup. She was glowing. We sat down in this small studio. Marcus was across from us with a tablet. The cameras were rolling. "So," Marcus started, "it's been an interesting week." "It has," Sarah said brightly. "I think we proved that trust and honesty are everything in a relationship." "That's an interesting perspective," Marcus said. "Let's review some footage." He turned the tablet toward us. First clip, me at the gym. Me at coffee with Mike. Me working from home. Me doing absolutely nothing suspicious. Sarah squeezed my hand. "See? I knew it. Now let's look at your week, Sarah." Her smile faltered slightly. The next clip showed her at her desk. Jake walking over. The laugh. Then Marcus paused it and said, "This is your coworker Jake, correct?" "Yes." "And you two are close?" "We're friends." "I already explained this." Marcus nodded slowly. Then he played the next clip. Her phone buzzing. The message, "Can't wait for tonight. Your place or mine?" Sarah's face went white. That's out of context. Is it? Marcus played the bar footage. Her and Jake. The hand on her thigh. The whispering. The laughter. We were celebrating. The presentation. Then came the footage of her car parked outside his apartment for 4 hours. The room was dead silent except for the sound of her breathing, which had gone rapid and shallow. I didn't say anything. I just watched her. Sarah, Marcus said quietly. Do you have anything you'd like to say? She turned to me, eyes filling with tears. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? We got close. It's not physical. It's emotional. We talk. That's all. You spent 4 hours at his apartment. We were working, Sarah. I kept my voice level. You signed us up for this show because you thought you'd catch me. You thought I was the one cheating. But you were really just projecting, weren't you? Her tears spilled over. I thought you were seeing someone. You've been distant. You're always on your phone. I panicked. I've been distant because I've been house hunting, planning our wedding, working extra hours to save money for our future. I stood up. And you've been sleeping with Jake. I haven't. We didn't. Marcus cleared his throat. We spoke to Jake yesterday. He confirmed the relationship has been physical for 3 months. Sarah made this sound, half gasp, half sob. I took off my ring and set it on the table between us. We're done. I walked out. The cameras followed. Final update, that episode aired 6 weeks ago. It went viral, 15 million views in the first week. Sarah became a meme. There are TikToks with her face frozen in that moment of realization set to various songs. Reddit threads. Reaction videos. The whole internet shredded her. She tried to reach out to me twice. I blocked her both times. The house deposit was refundable since we hadn't closed. I moved into a smaller place downtown. Lost some money on the wedding deposits, but honestly, that's the best money I've ever spent. Jake got fired. Turns out Sarah wasn't the only co-worker he'd been involved with, and HR had been building a case. The show just accelerated the timeline. Sarah moved back in with her parents. Last I heard, she's job hunting. Turns out being nationally known as a cheater doesn't help your professional reputation. I got the $5,000 from the show for my participation. Put it toward new furniture. Mike told me last week that Sarah's been telling people I set her up, that I manipulated the whole thing to humiliate her publicly. Maybe that's true. Maybe I could have just confronted her privately, broken up, moved on quietly. But she signed us up for that show. She wanted to humiliate me on national television. She wanted to prove to herself and everyone else that I was the problem. All I did was make sure the cameras pointed in the right direction. Edit 1. A lot of people are asking how I knew before calling the producers. Honestly, 6 months of small things. Her phone always face down. New lingerie I never saw her wear. Perfume on work trip days. The way she'd accuse me of things I wasn't doing. Classic projection. I didn't have proof, just instinct. The show gave me confirmation. Edit 2. Yes, I signed a release form for the footage to air. Yes, I knew it would go viral. No, I don't feel bad about it. Edit 3. For everyone asking if I've started dating again, not yet. I'm focusing on myself for a while. Turns out being cheated on takes some time to process, even when you get public vindication.